Alright, so yesterday we talked about ratios and proportions, correct? And the first thing that we learned how to write was a ratio. And we know that we have to read the problem because it tells us how to write our ratio. So the first one that we learned was student-teacher ratio. So the students came first, the teacher came second, correct? The second one that we learned was our batting average, which is the number of base hits to at-bats. And we had a conversation about what this means, which was not as in-depth as second period, and it was scary, the lack of knowledge in that class, but no judgment, all God's children. And you read it. It tells you how many hits, and it tells you how many at-bats, and it's not going to give it to you always in the correct order. Does everybody understand? You have to actually read the problem. You two have to stop talking. The third one was where we applied our ratios to triangles. Now, why did we set this one equal to 180?
Because you're trying to find the measure of the angles.
They're trying to find the measure of the angles. Take a point. And we know that the sum of a triangle is? Fantastic. Now, why did we set this one equal to 392?
Because you said the perimeter. That means they already told you it's all around. Okay.
Good. Y'all get a point. Y'all get a point. And
They said.
yeah, Brian's part of this team.
Bro, it's right here.
You're part of this team. He's not. Alright, flip it to the back. Now, the second thing we learned was how to take two ratios, set them equal, and then solve. How did we solve these proportions? You cross multiply. Take a point. Now, this problem said that if the ratio of boys to girls at a high school is 4-3, so we had boys on top of our fraction, girls on bottom of our fraction. And then we set it equal to 936 divided by x. Why did we set it equal like this? Do we know how many girls are at the school? So that's why we put x. Does everybody understand? Now, please, please, please listen carefully. Your proportions have to be set up with the same units across on top as the same units across on bottom. So if it was donuts and cookies, what would have to be the same over here? Donuts and cookies. If it is rainbows and frogs, what does it have to be over here? Does everybody understand? It has to be that every single time. Now, the last thing that we talked about was our scale factor. And I'm working on our project that we're going to do. You have the choice, I think, to either build something or draw it, depending on what you want to do. But we are going to do a scale thing. And you get to pick your own building. So that way I'm not making you all do the same thing. I feel like that'll be much more fun.
Is it a group project? Or
No.
individual?
No, it's individual.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Don't do that to yourselves.
Right. If Tyler's not going to do his work, Tyler's going to bring himself down, not his whole group. Even though Tyler has done better lately, haven't you? He's been coming to...
It was a fact.
Probably should have used Mazzaro instead of you, because you've been doing your work lately, and Mazzaro's trying to kill me.
I did good yesterday.
You were, but that's one day out of the 102 we've been here. So let's get it together, boo-boo. Alright, now, the last one that we're going to talk about before you do your assignment for today is a scale on a map. Now, how many of you have gone on a road trip without Google Maps and you have to use an actual map?
My dad just knows.
Alright, so when you read a map, at the bottom it has a scale. And it's like 1 inch is 100 miles, or 1 inch is 50 miles, or 2 inches is something. So that's what this problem is talking about. And we're actually going to have to do this on our activity today. So it says, if a map scale is 1 inch equals 50 miles, and the distance on the map between point A and B is 3.5 inches, how many actual miles apart are the points? Now, read the problem again to yourself and think about what it's asking you to do.
Is the first thing it mentioned going to be on the top? So this inch will be on top. And then the inches will be on bottom.
So it gives you 1 inch is how many miles? 50. And then it tells you how many how many inches apart are the points. So we're going to set that equal to 3.5. Do we know how many miles they are?
No.
So we let that be x.
X, yeah.
Now, 1 is inches, 3.5 is inches. Did I do that right?
Yeah.
50 is miles and X is miles. Did I do that right? How do we solve a proportion? Cross multiply. So 1 times X is X, and 3.5 times 50 is
175
175
inches.
miles.
I like
175 miles. Take a point if you got it right.
Yeah, that take fun.
Because sometimes you talk and I don't want you to. She said sometimes you talk and I don't want you to. That's what she just said. And sometimes I don't want you to. That's what I just said, Tater Tot.
You got it in the front. You're taking
Alright, so now today what you're going to do is you're going to keep your notes out and you are going to work on this worksheet front and back. Now the front part is the ratio and proportions. The back is the scale. Does everybody understand? So you're going to need a ruler for the back.
Yes,
You
sir.
do
The
it by
front,
yourself.
yes, this is by yourself.
You're not going to help them.
I will assist you.
So you're not going to do it at there.
No, this is all by myself. This is you are showing me what you've learned yesterday and half of today. Okay?
I was going to say, can I listen?
You can listen to music.
Oh.